Section 1, Listening Comprehension. In this section, you will demonstrate your skills in understanding spoken English. There are 3 parts in the listening comprehension section, with different tasks in each. Part A, Directions. In Part A, you will hear short conversations between 2 people. At the end of each conversation, a third person will ask a question about what the 2 people said. Each conversation and each question will be spoken only one time. For this reason, you must listen carefully to understand what each speaker says. After you hear a conversation and the question, read the 4 selections and choose the one that is the best answer to the question the speaker asked. Then, on your answer sheet, find the number of the question and blacken the space that corresponds to the letter for the answer you have chosen. Blacken the space completely so that the letter inside the space does not show. Listen to the following example. On the recording, you hear,
"Does the car need to be filled?"
Mary stopped at the gas station on her way home.
What does the woman mean? In your test book, you will read, A. Mary bought some food. B. Mary had car trouble. C. Mary went shopping. D. Mary bought some gas. From the conversation, you learn that Mary stopped at the gas station on her way home. The best answer to the question, "Does the car need to be filled?" is D. Mary bought some gas. Therefore, the correct answer is D. Now let us begin Part A with question number 1. Question number 1.
Professor White doesn't seem to be very patient with computers.
Well, regardless of her patience with computers, graduate students hold her in high regard.
What can be said about Professor White? Question number 2.
The dinner was delicious. Thank you.
Would you like some cake and ice cream?
What does the woman mean? Question number 3.
Can't Eric lend you some money?
He is out of cash.
What does the man say about Eric? Question number 4.
I am still trying to finish copying this stack of papers.
When you leave, be sure that the copying machine is turned off.
What does the woman mean? Question number 5.
Tom got a C in Mrs. Walker's class.
It's surprising that he passed his Latin at all.
What does the man imply? Question number 6.
I'd be curious to find out what Janet's bills came to.
She paid $60 for a pair of shoes and $150 for a dress.
What does the woman say about Janet? Question number 7.
The construction of the science complex is finally over. Have you seen it yet?
The new engineering building is far from what I expected.
What does the man mean? Question number 8.
I got my teeth cleaned today.
So, you have gone to a dentist.
What does the woman mean? Question number 9.
Have Nick and Sally made all the arrangements for the reception?
It appears that 130 guests are coming to the wedding, and the hall they rented is not nearly large enough.
What does the man imply? Question number 10.
I'd like to cash a traveler's check for $1,000.
The manager can help you.
What does the woman imply? Question number 11.
The people across the street are getting their house ready for sale.
I know. Last week they had the windows washed and the carpet steamed.
What does the man mean? Question number 12.
Kate should be proud of her accomplishment. How did she react to the news?
When she learned that she won the first prize, she was at a loss for words.
What can be said about Kate? Question number 13.
How about a cup of coffee? You look tired.
Every morning I promise myself that I'll go to bed early, but I end up staying up anyway.
What does the man mean? Question number 14.
Is Ronald going to Iowa to see his parents?
He wants to travel abroad this summer.
What does the woman mean? Question number 15.
Why don't her roommates forward the package to her?
They don't have her address, and they don't know how to get in touch with her.
What does the man mean? Question number 16.
We've been driving for 45 minutes already, and I expected the trip to take no longer than half an hour.
If you hadn't missed the turnoff, we could have made it there on time.
What does the woman mean? Question number 17.
The number of incoming undergraduates is high this fall.
The business school enrollment is only a third of the predicted figures.
What does the man mean? This is the end of Part A. Now read the directions for Part B while they are being read to you. Part B. Directions. In this part of the test, you will hear longer conversations. After each conversation, you will hear several questions. The conversations and questions will not be repeated. After you hear a question, read the 4 possible answers in your test book and choose the best answer. Then on your answer sheet, find the number of the question and fill in the space that corresponds to the letter of the answer you have chosen. Remember, you are not allowed to take notes or write in your test book. Questions 31 through 34 refer to the following conversation about shoes.
Your shoes are dirty. You need to clean them off before you go inside.
Okay, I'll wash them with water from the hose.
You can't wash leather shoes with water. You'll ruin them. Shoes are actually pretty complicated these days. We are so used to wearing shoes that few of us even think about them, apart from the times when we put them on and take them off.
If I could, I'd go barefoot.
Well, you were born a few thousand years too late. People didn't always wear shoes. No one knows when people first began to use them, but archaeologists say that the first shoes that covered feet were wrappings of animal skins worn in cold climates. Sandals appeared later in southern regions and were most likely made of wood, with leather or cloth attaching the soles to the upper part of the foot. I think they were probably pretty uncomfortable.
You know all this about shoes. So why did they change from sandals to the type of shoes we wear now?
Over time, shoes began to be used not only for protection, but also for decoration. Elaborate buckles, buttons, and embroidery covered most shoe uppers for royalty and commoners in France and in Spain. For example, high heels came into fashion in the 1600s and were worn by men. However uncomfortable they are, people have continued to wear them for more than 300 years.
The history of shoes sounds pretty elaborate.
It is, and that's not all. Silk, satin, velvet, and lizard skins are still used for making dress shoes for special occasions. Today's shoes are relatively cheap because most models are designed by computer, and their components are cut by laser and sewn together by programmed machinery.
It's hard to imagine how much technology has affected everything we do, use, and wear, even something seemingly as simple as shoes.
Question number 31. What was the earliest footwear made of? Question number 32. Which of these words probably best describes the first shoes? Question number 33. Approximately how long have high-heeled shoes been worn? Question number 34. Why are shoes comparatively cheap today? Now read the directions for Part C while they are being read to you. Part C. Directions. In Part C, you will hear short talks. At the end of each, you will be asked several questions. Each talk and each question will be spoken only one time. For this reason, you must listen carefully to understand what the speaker says. After you hear a question, read the 4 selections and choose the one that is the best answer to the question the speaker asked. Then, on your answer sheet, find the number of the question and blacken the space that corresponds to the letter for the answer you have chosen. Questions 39 through 42 Refer to a talk about job interviews.
During a job interview, your behavior, clothes, and speech are important. It's important that you arrive on time and be polite, sincere, and organized. Most people don't realize that the way one dresses for an interview is also important. If your clothes are wrinkled or mismatched, the interviewer may think that you really don't care about your appearance and even about the quality of your work. Your outfit doesn't have to cost a fortune, but it should be neat and clean to make a good impression on the interviewer. And please don't arrive at the interview in clothes that have stains or rips. Don't borrow your friends' clothes if they don't fit well. This is one of the common mistakes that job seekers make. They don't want to spend the money and end up losing a chance to get an offer. It's important to remember that if you don't make a good first impression, you may not get a chance to make another one. When you speak, you need to adjust your speech rate. If the interviewer speaks fast, you have to speak just as fast. If the person in charge speaks slowly, you'll have to slow down. Research has shown that most people like those individuals who speak at the same speed as they do.
Question number 39. What is the main purpose of this talk? Question number 40. What does the speaker say about an interview outfit? Question number 41. What is a common mistake people make when they go for an interview? Question number 42. How should interviewees adjust their speech rate? Stop working on Section 1.